everybody, welcome to Lisa's Art Room. Tonight we're going to be finishing up our Halloween junk journals. We're going to be sewing in the signatures in an Oxford hollow style. So y'all come in and say hi. Let me know you're here. We are live on Facebook if you see the little red button at the top. If not, you're catching a replay. I'm going to get you guys pulled up so I can see chat. Hey, Dawn. Oh, I've been running around like crazy. Thanks for letting me know the volume is good, Dawn. I appreciate that. All right, so this is going to be a long one. Hopefully I can get it done in the 2 hours that I typically am here. I started the Regions Beyond one. Haven't finished it. I'd hoped I'd get it finished before I started, but I didn't. As far as sewing in the signatures go. And I'm going to do the other one pretty much completely. So I'm just debating on how I want to approach it. But anyway, like, oh my gosh, this one it's so gator mouthed. It's big. So that's that one. Stuff's falling out of it. It's huge. We're going to get started on this. I'm going to go ahead and pull the camera up top, okay? Hey, Angela. All right, 1 second. Oops. Getting my cord hooked on everything. Oh. Let's see. I think that's the right direction. Yep. Straight. Lighting's okay. All right. Move this light over a little bit. Okay. So, sewing in signatures. Oh my goodness, guys. It is always one of those things I kind of dread. I'm not going to lie. Of all the things I do with junk journaling, sewing the signatures in is not my favorite. But it has to be done. So we're going to do it. I want to show you what I did to get us to this point. So I needed to add ribbon. So I went ahead and did that because it had to dry and I couldn't do anything else until it dried. So it was better for me just to do it ahead of time. So it's very important if you are going to add a tie that you do it before you put your signatures in or before you close off that, cover. And I've forgotten before and had to try to rip up stuff, so that's no fun. So this is actually it's a scarf that I cut up. So it's a little bit odd because it's very wide, but then it kind of rolls up into, narrow. The main thing is find your centers, mark your center of your ribbon. I just fold it in half and put a little mark on it. Here, I'll just show you with this one. So you just take your ribbon, mark it with some chalk or something, okay? And then draw a center so you know where your center is. And then I draw a center mark here so that I know where the center is there. That way my ribbon is straight and all that. And then you just glue it in. It's not hard. You just glue it in. But you do want it, because this one was not a normal ribbon where you just put a little bead of glue and it lays flat automatically. This ribbon was a little more challenging because I had to unroll it very carefully to get it to lay flat as I was gluing it. So that's another reason I just went ahead and did it off camera. But I got it to lay flat. Make sure that, you're into your corners there and everything is nice and flat. Okay, and there you got your tie. And then start your Oxford hollow part. So for the Oxford hollow, let's see, I can get some of this out of my way. have to decide if, you know, what you're going to use for your spine cover, okay, what you're going to use for your tip-in pages, and if you have any pockets. Now this pocket's going to be a little different because I have my writing board, and my writing board absolutely will not fit the way I wanted it to. So I decided to make a sideways pocket on the back, which I don't usually do. I usually just put normal straight pockets when I'm adding pockets to the cover. But for this one, I have to do it this way because I made this as small as I felt like I could and still have it work for this journal. So it's pretty small. But when you add your Oxford Hollow in there, okay, this will be like this. It folds in, and it basically goes like this. This is glued, this is glued. Okay, and then you have what's called your tip-in pages that are on either side. Ignore this note because it didn't really apply. Like so. And then your pocket goes there. Okay, where did my pocket go? Oh, there it is. So your pocket goes there. Well, this is all the room I had. It's not a lot of room. So I tried. I was like, nope, there's no way I'm getting that pocket wide enough to get that in there. And I didn't want to make it smaller. It's already verging on too small. So I decided to just put my back pocket sideways. So this is going to go like this instead of at the bottom, and then this will fit in like this. Okay, so it's going to have a pocket on the back that's sideways and a pocket on the front that's normal. This could be used for that bookmark or anything else. So I think that'll work. So that's the plan. Now, a lot of times for my tip-in pages, I'll use fabric. For this one, I decided I'd try to do this. This is the Tim Holtz backdrops because I just thought they looked well with this. I could have just used this fabric, but it would have been all the same, and I just was kind of like, I kind of want to, you know, mix it up a little. So that's why I'm using the paper instead. Both will work. I've used paper. I've used the paper that I make the faux paper where it's not faux paper, but it's like where you make faux leather paper. I've used that before, and then I've used just fabric, of course. So you can use pretty much anything. Well, you can't use like glass, I don't think. But anyway, so let's talk about all these things. So for this, because I was using the mummy cloth, which is very open weave and frays like crazy, I did go ahead and just double it over. I was trying to see if I had a piece to even show. I tried to get all the little pieces of things I needed. Here's a piece. Because I had to do so much ahead of time. All right, so this mummy cloth is very thin. So what I did is I just folded it over, okay, and then I took it to my sewing machine and I just sewed around it. And then I actually added a little bit of glue on the edges so it wouldn't fray. The sewing should stop the fraying, but the sewing is not perfect as far as stopping fraying, unless you're doing maybe a double zigzag or something. So I just went ahead and glued it too. So my pieces are sewn and then they're also glued on the edge. So they're very secure. I know they're not going to fall apart. So that's how I made the pockets for these. And they both journals have this type of pocket. And then, like I said, I'm just using these for tip-in pages. Now, typically I will go ahead and sew my pocket to my page. But because this one's paper, I'm just going to glue it on there instead of sewing it. So these will actually be glued on. I probably could have still sewed it, but sewing through the paper is, it's a little iffy because sometimes the pieces, because you're piercing it, it can almost work like a, I don't know what it's called, perforation, where you can tear it. So I didn't want to make it perforated and have it fall apart. So that's why I chose not to sew it. I know these are not identical. I don't have two identical ones. All right, so that is that. I went ahead and added an eyelet for my charm. Sorry about the Band-Aid. I punctured myself trying to sew in the signature. Added a eyelet and a little jump ring to here, and I made a charm. I made two charms. So I made this charm for this journal, and it's got a little owl on there. It's got lots of the ribbons, and then it's got, let me find them. It's got a spider, and it's got a little bat. So that is my little dangle, and I've just got it hooked on with one of these little things. These are Tim Holtz. I don't know what they're called, but it just hooks on like that. Okay, and it hangs down. It is removable. I have it off for right now because it'll get in my way. So that's that one. The one I made for Dawn's journal, the Regions Beyond, is this one. It's of course black and white. Same thing, lots of ribbon, and then it's got the hand and the skull and a spider web. Okay, so that's hers. So that is what I made. I made charms. Hey, Lori. I'm glad you're catching me live too. All right, so Oxford Hollow. So I went ahead and got the fabric ready because it has to be glued and it takes forever, but I am going to show you on a little miniature version so that you know what I did. Because I wanted these to be perfectly dry before I start. Okay, step one is to measure your signatures and see the distance from here to here. Okay, and that is the distance that this piece of, I use a heavy craft paper. Usually I just use a gift wrap paper. You know how some of the gift wrap paper cores are, they're not the tubes, but they're like a piece that's kind of like rolled but not stuck together. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a nice thick craft paper. It's kind of in between normal craft paper and like a toilet paper roll. But that's a good weight for this. So that's what I typically will use if I have it. If not, then I just use a cardstock that's a little heavier cardstock or something. But what you do is you measure from here to here. So that is your height for this piece. And then you measure the spine. Okay. And the spine is this part. Okay. And it's the part that, if you hold it up, it's the part that's flat. Okay. So it's that part in there that is just on the inside. You don't count that little gap in there. Okay. So you have to stop right there. And I think mine was like 2 inches. So mine is less than that. Mine is 1, and it looks like 3/4. Let me see if that's what this is. Yeah. So 1 3/4 is what mine is. And that's the distance that you want from here to here. And then you just have to have a drop on each side that is equal to that. Okay. And the easiest way to do that is to just start with the whole piece, measure out this center part, and then fold one piece over and just cut it where that line is, and then fold this over and cut it where the line is. Yeah, that's how I usually do it. But so you need a piece like that, and that is your Oxford Hollow part. So, and then you want to glue the fabric to this side of it. Okay, this part is what goes into the journal and becomes the hollow. Okay, you see how it hollows out there? That goes in here. Good, stay together for me. It goes in there like that. Okay, and it will be glued to the spine. But this part will be loose. And then these flaps are glued down, and then you've got the hollow in there. Okay? I'm just telling you so you understand, because I do better. I know myself if I understand before instead of just showing me. Okay, so once you figure out the size of your Oxford hollow, then you can figure out the paper or the fabric you want to cover it with. Now you want to cover it with something that's fairly sturdy. I typically will use muslin, like a heavier weight muslin. For this, I didn't have that, so I just went with the fabric that I had. And what I ended up doing is putting some interfacing in there, just to stiffen this up just a little bit, to make it a little bit stronger, so it's not quite so flimsy. So the way I did that, this is just a sample. So this is a small version of what you see there, so I can show you. And then this is a small version of my fabric piece. Okay, and the fabric piece basically is about the same, and it's just gonna try to crease it. Okay, so it's gonna go on to the back of this. Okay, because this is the part that goes to the spine, and this is the part that goes to the signatures. Okay, so what I did is I just took some Pellon iron-on interfacing, and I had some scrap. I don't know what strength it was or anything. All I know is it's iron-on interfacing. It's probably whatever is normal for like quilting, it's my guess. So I just went ahead and put a little piece of that in the center just to strengthen it. So both of these have a piece down the inside of this. It's basically in between there. Okay. Is it necessary? I don't know, but I feel like it makes it easier to sew into because it gives it just that little bit of stiffness, and it's just easier to deal with, I think. So did that. So you've got your fabric, and then you have to glue this to that. Okay, and I use PVA glue. You could use Fabri-Tac. I don't particularly like using the Fabri-Tac because it tends to give a little more distance between the piece. I think the PVA glue is flatter and it lays better. It does take a little longer to dry maybe, but I use the bookbinding PVA glue, and it's a thinner glue. It's similar to like art glitter, but dries a whole lot slower. So you just get that. I'm gonna put something down because it's gonna be messy. Let me see, where's my silicone? I know I have a piece here somewhere. All right. So you just get that and you just attach it. So you can just put the glue here if you want. I usually put it on both, and I usually use like a spreader of some sort. So just spread your glue on there, and don't be stingy. You want it to adhere very well. And the fabric's not going to show a whole lot, so it doesn't really matter if it goes through. The interfacing will definitely help with that. And then you can put a little bit here if you want to. Is it absolutely necessary to put it on both pieces? I don't know. But I do. Okay, so just put that there. Now, hopefully you have this marked so that you know where the center is, but usually you can kind of eye it and just put it on there. It's not absolutely essential that it's perfectly centered because you're going to glue it in and you can center it then. These pieces are just glue down pieces, and they're going to be covered with the tip-in pages, so it's not a big deal. And then you want to just glue that to the fabric. Okay, and then just set it aside to dry. Don't lay that down in case you have any glue there. Just leave it like that. You can use your bone folder if you want to kind of just Make sure it's on there good, and just let it dry. I usually just peel it up because it tends to stick to whatever I stuck it on. And then I just set it like that until it dries and leave it. Okay, so that's that step. Let me get that out of my way somewhere. How about there? So that is how you get the fabric onto your Oxford core. Just get some of this glue off my fingers, off my silk. All right. So you want to do that. Let it dry thoroughly because you're going to be sewing through it. So it can't be wet, or you're going to gum up your needle and you're going to fight and you're going to be very upset. All right, so make sure you mark the top, especially if your fabric has a top or a bottom. Mark it anyway because it really helps when putting it in the journal. Just mark it. I just write top. And then I also take a pencil and I just mark these edges because they're kind of hard to see. So I just fold it and just mark where the edges are like that. Okay, and then I find the center here and give that a little mark, and the center here and give that a little mark, and then write top. I also do the center here just because it helps when putting my my holes in. It's not absolutely necessary, but I tend to do it. I don't know. So anyway, that's that piece, and you just set that aside for right this second. And then you want to get your thing for making your template. So I have one made already because I use the same one pretty much all the time, and I just adjust it a little bit. The most important part is that the width of separation for your holes matches up to the signatures you're going to put in. Okay, especially if you've already made your signatures. Otherwise, it's not going to fit and you'll be frustrated. So I usually have like a couple different ones. Let's see if I have one to show you. Okay, see this one? The distance from here to here is a lot less than this one. Okay, and so this was for one that the signatures were relatively small. Didn't take up a lot of space. But when you got a really fat signature, you need to leave a little more distance in between those holes. Don't get so close to this outside edge that it won't fit in there, because that is the edge of the spine. I'm a little closer than I wanted to be, but it's still fine. I stuck it in there and it seems like it'll be fine. So just I wouldn't get closer than 1/4 of an inch. So you have your little piece and you just want to mark your holes. Now you can just fold it in half to get your center if you want, or you can do a lot of measuring. But you want 5 holes spaced at the distance that you want them. Okay, that's up to how big your signatures are. And the way I kind of like to eye that, if I have my signatures made ahead of time. If not, then I just do what will fit. But if I have them made ahead of time, I set them up like this, and I squish it down as much as I can. And then I take my piece of paper and I stick it up there to that template, and I see if those marks, try and get the light to hit right, if they're going to hit about where those signatures end up. Do you see what I'm saying? And that tells me that my gap is fine. Okay, if my gap was like really, really narrow like this, then I'd probably want to adjust it because that's too much. But this is a comfortable gap for those. All right, that's just an easy way to do it. At least I think it's easy. Okay, so you have your little template, and then you get your piece of paper. Now remember, the signatures are going on this side, but you can't really mark that side. You're going to mark it on the inside, but you're going to sew them on the outside. So just keep that in mind. You want to have your template meet up to this line of your cardstock. So mine has lines and I just use the same one. But so find the center. For mine, I've got this last line, and then I usually just kind of find the edge like that, make sure it's even, so I know that's, if it matches all the way down, push it against it, and it matches all the way down, then I know I'm straight for this piece. Okay, and then you just want to hold it in place by clamping it or whatever. So we're going to try to clamp this. You can mark it first if you want. I don't think it's necessary. I have done it just so I can see the holes better in case they don't show up. And if I do want to do that, I try to get a contrasty pencil or something, and I just push it into the holes and make little marks. I think I did do that with this, but I just take each one and kind of squish it in there and make little marks. Okay, and this has those little marks already, but usually by the time I poke the hole, I can't see them anyway, so it doesn't really matter. So try to hold it in place. Don't let it move. And this is tricky, but you got to attach it. So hold it in place and clamp it. You can double check it when you're done, but try to hold it in place. Clamp it. Now I'm doing all 4 edges just so it doesn't move on me. Okay, and that looks like it's still on the line where the fold is. I can kind of just see it. So it should be good. Then you got to find something to poke into. It could be an old book or whatever. I use this chunk of foam because I have it and it works great. And then you need a pokey tool. I use an awl like this. This is like a bookbinder awl. And you just poke your holes. Okay, so I usually only go to about there because mine does get wider as it goes up. They don't always get wider as they go up. Sometimes they're like this and they're just the same, and you don't have to worry about it. But if it does get wider as it goes up, don't go so fat that your hole's just going to be big and loose. So just, go maybe a 1/2 inch on this one. Okay, so just poke each one of the holes. And try to get them straight. It's not a huge deal, but it's best. Okay, and then once you get all the holes in there, I usually take one side off and kind of peek in case I missed a hole, because I do sometimes miss them. I don't know why. You would think that would be hard to do, but I've managed. Just make sure I got all my holes. And then once I know I've got all my holes, then I pull that off. Okay, so now I have all the little holes on there. If you look on, focus. You look on this side, you can usually see them at an angle. Sometimes they're hard to see. I can't see because I have glasses on. But they're there, and you can definitely feel them. But what I like to do on this type of fabric is I just go through from this side too in each of the holes and just make them a little more visible from this side, since this is the side I'm going to be sewing into. And I just want to make sure I can really see them. If you really can't see them at all, you could take like a black pencil or something and mark the holes so you can find them, but usually it's not necessary. So I'm just going to poke those. Let me just get back down here so I sit. And you can do it on this, but you don't have to. So I'm just going to poke those a little bit better. Okay, so I can see them pretty good now. This one's a little funny. This hole is a perfect example of why it is important to have it marked top. Okay, this particular hole is just a fraction higher than these two. So if I didn't mark this top, and when I was sewing it in, I flipped it accidentally, that would not line up. Okay, so it's important that you have it marked up and you always keep them the same way. Otherwise, you'll have issues with things lining up. Okay, so there's our piece. Got a little holes in there. Now, ooh, we can melt. Okay, I'm melting. I'm not going to turn my fan on, guys. It wasn't hot. The weather's been crazy here. It's like last week it was down into the 30s, like 38 or something. And then this week it's back up to 80. What? Okay, so now we want to sew the signatures into this. So I've got my 5-hole pamphlet stitch that we're going to do. This is my cheat sheet. If y'all want to copy it, feel free to screenshot and make a copy. That's what I use it all the time because half the time I can't remember it, and I've done it like 50 times. You'd think I'd remember by now, but I don't know. So you don't need this yet, so we're going to set that aside. And we're going to sew our signatures into this. So let's grab our signatures. I like to start with the last signature. Oh, I still got to take the ephemera out. All right, we got to take the ephemera out because I can't do it with all the stuff in there. Which is something I was trying to do ahead of time, but didn't get to. So, figure out how you want yours. I think I want this one first, and then this one, and then this one. I was keeping this one on the back, mostly because there were things on there, interactive things that I wanted toward the back of the journal. So, doesn't really matter on this particular one which way they go, but this is how I'm going to do it. With those two first and this one last. But you have to get your ephemera out, because if you try to sew these in with all of these cards and tags and stuff in there, it's going to be a nightmare. They'll be falling out. It'll just be a nightmare. Trust me. Take the stuff out. So some of you have seen me do this 100 times, but get a sticky pad. Okay, you can use a smaller one than this, but I don't have any mini ones. And you want to label your sticky pad with 2 letters, numbers, whatever you want to use. I have some of these made, but they're in Dawn's journal already, so I have to make more. It doesn't matter. The other ones are starting to not be sticky. I probably need the whole alphabet page. Because it's a lot of stuff. I might even need more. I've got some numbers already made, so I can use those if I have to. What was I on, J? You're excited? I bet you are. I'm excited to get them all done. And then I can concentrate on that vignette and get it done. I could have just done this as I was going, but honestly, this is easier, so. I use these over and over, so I know it seems wasteful, but it's really, they get a lot of use. I'd use the ones I have, but like I said, they're already in Dawn's. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut those out because that's the easiest way to do this. So we have our letters. And then all you do is go through and you just start making a pile. If I can get this page to open. I love these edges, but they can be a little challenging when flipping pages. All right, so there's my first one. Goodness. So A and A. And I just, this doesn't technically go in the pocket, but we're keeping it together. So I just take out anything that's going to move. Okay, if it's not going to move, it doesn't matter. Where's my other pile? I done lost my other pile. Where'd it go? Oh. All right, B. And these are not so sticky that they usually cause me problems. I've never had one mess up a page or anything. It is time consuming though. But I definitely would not skip this part. So, y'all ready for Halloween? Did you guys decorate your house? I've got mine all decorated. The kids are coming over, so I got all the stuff up. Not too scary, because normally I would do pretty scary, but I kept it mild. I'm going to pull that out too. I hate doing this on camera. It's always so tedious. That's why I really tried to get to it, but oh my gosh. It just took all of my time to sew in all the other things that I had to do. These are iffy. I'm going to take them out. They might be alright, but I'm not sure. Alright, the rest of that's all flat. So then just make sure that is nice and even. Everything is where it's supposed to be. And we'll go to the next one. Actually, this one. So I'm in order. You didn't get all your Halloween decor out? I had Dave pull the container out of the garage the other day so I could do it. There's a little bit of stuff I've added. So I added this moon for this little Dracula book. I haven't seen anything else yet, I don't think. I'm missing something. L, M. Oh, there's the M. M. So I added that. What else did I add? I'll look at it as I go through. I added, did I add that? Yeah, this is over the top of that. I just added a little journaling spot. There's quite a lot to add because I went through and filled out a whole bunch of stuff. Like this page, it's just filler because it was a white page, so I went ahead and just filled in most of the white pages. I added this little page. This was a white page, so I covered it with some of that. This was from Dollar Tree. It was one of their little scrap paper things, and I just took 2 of them and glued them on there, and then I added that little butterfly and this little card. I'm definitely going to run out. Oops, I knew it was going to stick to that. Doesn't like that tea bag. And I love these guys. I don't think I added that. The cat is so cute. I think that's a graphics fairy thing. I think I added this. This was from that Witches collection. What is it called? Witch Theme Vintage Busy Day Design. I got that last year. It's a digital from Etsy. I think I added this. So this was that book page from Frankenstein, and then I added this little, just a corner tuck, and then this little booklet kind of thing. Oops, I know I have more than one there. We're running out already. I knew we'd run out because there's a lot. There's a lot to this. A lot of ephemera. All right, so there's the second journal. Signature, I mean. Okay, and then the last one. Extra. Where's the other W? Is it hiding under here? There it is. Something's like howly outside. It must be like traffic or a train, but it's got that spooky, eerie sound. It's like, ooh. It's like, okay. Trying to add to the atmosphere. Don't have to, I don't think that's gonna come open or anything. I think it'll be fine. I added a backing to this. It was just the tag itself, so I did back it. Technically, I should not need to mess with that one. It should be fine because it's kind of locked in there. I'm not worried about it. This one I do though. Stuck one of those skeletons there, isn't it cute? I just stuck him in there so he's like sitting there. He'd make a cute bookmark. This just has notes on the back. Let's see if I can. I'll try to sandwich him. That's just a flip, so although I do want to make sure I don't sew that fabric in. So I'm just going to squish it over just to make sure it's nowhere near that center, and I'm going to just paper clip it. Just with a couple of paper clips just to kind of be sure. I don't want it to move on me. I missed a Y. Where was this Y? Oh my goodness, let go. It's not letting go. Oh, there it is. All right, where were you, Y? You were that belly band or something, right? There it is. Probably would have figured it out, but all right, Z and Z. Are we gonna make it? I think that'll be okay. That's in there pretty tight. I don't think that's going to move, but this I will need to take out. And we'll just call this 1. Okay, so we got all of our stuff out. So for this, you can decide where you want it. On this particular page, there's nothing on here, so it doesn't really matter. It could just go right in the middle. I might want to look at my template and just see where my holes are going to hit. Then I can kind of decide where to put it. If I put it in the middle, I can get all 3 of those holes in there. So if you have a small piece like that, just kind of look at your template for your holes and see about where you want the holes to hit on it, and then try to make sure you keep it there. So for this, it's pretty much right where that green line is. I think is a good spot for that. And then I should be able to hit it exactly. So just make sure everything's good. All right, now we can start sewing. They're still really thick, even with all the ephemera out. Oh, granted, there's a lot of built-in ephemera in this one, but this is how much ephemera was in there. So that's the bulk that we did take out, which is a decent amount. All right, I need to get this over here out of my way. Okay. So start with the back is what I do. I just think it's easiest because then I can see as I go forward. I think it's easier for someone in the signatures. Just make sure it's, like I said, make sure everything is where you want it to be. If you've got loose pieces like that one, make sure they're where you want them to be. And then get it nice and tight. Okay? So you just have to push it down to where the spines, the inside of the folds are nice and tight. And then you want to clip them together with it folded. Okay? At least like this much. Okay? You can't do it flat. It has to be folded. Otherwise, what happens is when it opens up, see how those separate? So if it was flat, they wouldn't line up. Okay, so make sure that you have it as tight as you can get it. Sometimes you gotta kind of play with it. Put your little clips on there. Flip it over, do the same thing. Try to make sure all that fits down in there. If it's not tight, I don't want that. If it's not tight, this is just a pain to sew in. It's already going to be a pain because I've got so many pages, but I'm going to try not to make it too much of a pain. Okay, and then you want to get your template, which is this, and you want to center it in there. So I've got my lines already. I've got those lines that tell me where to put it on this. So I just line those up to those, and I center it into the spine. Okay, just squish it down in there, get it exactly where it's supposed to be. And then I take, you can use extra ones, but I usually just take the one that's there and move it over. Just make sure everything stays together. If you're worried about it not being enough, grab another one and just stick it on there, because this is a lot to keep together. I think I'm going to actually put 2. It's a lot. I'm really worried about it not staying for me. Okay, so make sure that's nicely seated. Once you get it seated, pull your clip over. Pull your clip over. Okay, and like I said, I am gonna just go ahead and double clip these. All right, so just kind of double check, look at your edges and see if everything looks like it's still seating in there where it's supposed to. And then you can poke your holes. Okay, so for these holes, it has to be folded. You can't poke the holes with it flat. So keep them at an angle. It could be 45 is fine. And then you just find your holes and put your thing in there even. So you want it to go through the center. And then you just push through. It's a little bit hard, but you can do it. And then it should come out exactly on that fold. Okay? Assuming you've done all these steps, it should come out on the fold. You can put a little book or something down if you want. They make cradles for this. I kind of made one, but honestly, it's usually just, boy, this is a lot to go through. Usually it's just easier just to do it this way. Just find your hole and push it through. But they do make like a wooden cradle you can buy. Okay, so once you get all your holes in there, remove your template. Okay, if you don't remove your template, you're going to sew it in there, and you're not going to be happy. We don't need these because I've got the other clips on there, so I can just get rid of these. Be less things to snag on. Okay, and then you got that. So now I've got my holes where they're supposed to be, hopefully. Make sure it's the right direction. And make sure this is the right direction, okay? And remember, we're not sewing it here, we're sewing it here. So flip it over, and you've got your last hole. This is the last signature, so it goes into the last hole. And we need needle and thread. So, where did I put it? You pick whatever color you want. I have like a whole bunch of colors. I'm just gonna choose one that looks good with this. I might just go with neutral. So I think I'm just gonna go with neutral today. And then grab a needle. And your needle needs to be big enough you can get your wax thread in. But you don't want the head of the needle to be so wide that it's bigger than the hole. So I usually try to pick kind of a middle of the road one that, you know, the head hasn't gotten too big. Because a couple of these, the head gets really wide on. Like this one, that head is very wide. I don't want that one. As if I do, it's just going to make those holes bigger and bigger, and then the journal will get loose. Okay, thread you need 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. It will give you extra. Better to have extra than not. And then you just want to thread it. See if I can do it. Half bond. Okay, and just give yourself a little bit of slack so that you don't pull it back through. So we start at the middle. Okay, diagram shows. Okay, end number 1 through the middle. I'm using that center hole, but that doesn't really matter. Out, second hole, third hole, and then the 4th hole back where 2 was, The 5th hole you skip and is up here. 6th is here, and 7th, and then 8th. Okay? I know that's a lot. So we're going to start in the middle. Just have it folded. It should poke right through. If it doesn't poke right through, it means it moved. And you're going to have to figure it out and fight with it. I tend to like to clip my little tail on just because then I know it's not going to come loose on me. Usually once I get started, you can unclip it because then it's not going to come loose, but sometimes it's just easier just to go ahead and clip it on there. Okay, so this takes forever, guys. I'll never get all these done. If I can at least get one done, we'll be good. All right, so find your 3rd hole over because that's the last one. Okay, and go through there. Now, I don't like to make it super tight because I can't work with it tight. So I usually keep about a half an inch or so out, and then I'll tighten it later. Okay, in through 2. That's up to you and how tight you feel comfortable working with it. It does mean I have to kind of finagle with it at the end, but I'd rather do that than now. Okay, and then back to this bottom one. And through the bottom one on here. Okay, and here's where we come back to the 2nd hole, and you just don't want to split it. Okay, that's a big deal. Don't split the thread. So usually you have to kind of figure out which way did that thread go. Okay, so this thread is here and then here. So I want to pull this thread this direction. Can you see here? Let me zoom in just a fraction for a second. I won't do this every time, but I want to show you once. Okay, so this thread is going this direction here, and then if you flip it over, we've got the loose piece. Okay, so we want to make sure they're both going down. If they're both going down, then I can put that needle above that, and I should be able to come out without it splitting that thread. If you split the thread, you're going to have to work it out of there somehow. Either you're going to have to cut a string or you're going to have to try to feed it back through, because if you split the thread, what happens is you can't tighten it because it just locks it into that spot. So it is important that you don't split the thread. So make sure it's not split. The same thing into the next part, and always just look and see this one's going that way, so I want to make sure that I push everything that direction and get on this side. It's you know, it's a fight, guys. It's not the easiest thing in the world. If you ever have one you're really struggling with, you can take your owl and poke a hole a little bit bigger to help you, or poke a guide hole and kind of try to feed them through at the same time. Okay, so now this is where we skip. So that was 4. Okay, 4 coming out, and we skip this middle one, we go over here to 5. So we jump up there. And remember, if it's folded, it should go through smoothly if you're not hitting any pages, and it's actually feeding through the same hole. If I find it doesn't feel like it's going through smoothly, then I usually poke the hole a little bit bigger rather than fighting with it for an hour. The only ones that are really difficult is the ones where you might split it. I fight with those the most. And I do tend to turn it a lot because I can't function if it's backwards. So, did you see what I did? Look what I did. I skipped the hole. I went in the wrong one. So now I got to pull that back out. Don't get the wrong hole. That would be bad. So we want to be there. I thought I was in the right one, but I was not. So always check yourself as you're going. Make sure you're in the right hole. Okay, now back through this one. And they're here. Let's see. It's hard to see. I think it's there, but I can't tell for sure. I'm going to poke this off for a second. There. If you can't see your holes, sometimes it just helps to put the awl in there and then just kind of feed it in the same spot. There. All right, so we got that one. Now we want it to go back through there. So I'm going to turn it again. Try not to split this thread. So pushing it down because that's the direction it goes. Okay. Catching? No. Okay. Thought I was catching on something, but I'm not. All right, and then back through this one. Let's see. That one goes up. Ah, a lot of things in my way. Oh, I am zoomed in still. Y'all gotta yell at me. Hold on. And good to be zoomed in, but not if I get off camera. And I keep pulling it too close, so. Just move that out of my way. Like I said, this is always the trickiest part, is getting that thread out of your way. Did I get it? I think so. Okay. And the last one goes through the same one we started with. Oh, I split it. Look at that. All right. So I split this thread right there. Do you see that? Okay. This is what I mean by splitting threads. It's attached to that thread because I split it. So I have to unattach it. Now there's a couple of ways I can go about it. Either I can try to just find my way through that single strand, or I can just pull this needle out and pull it back through. And that's probably the easiest way to unsplit it. And I'll rethread it. And it happens. I split them every now and then. Boy, this needle's small. There. Okay. Let me zoom back out again. So try not to split your threads. And then back through this one. Okay, and then the last one goes, can't tell, I think down. Oh, I'm missing it. Hold on. Did I get it? I think I did. Okay. So then unclip your thread if you seriously, if you attached it, and you pull your needle off. And now you have to tighten, and how you tighten is up to you. I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna try starting here. I want to see if I can get this thread a little bit longer. I'm not sure which one that is. It's always a challenge for me. I don't know why. Figuring out what thread goes which direction. And I've seen people, like I've said before, I've seen people that can just wiggle their threads and they magically go where they're supposed to. I have never been able to do that. I always have to kind of just fight with it. Oh, that's not it. Which one is it? Is it this one? Nope. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. So I'm just trying to get them all nice and snug. This one. It's not that one, I don't think. Nope. All right, what are you missing? Is it this one? Nope. There it is. All right, so what is this one? Why does it never make sense to me? It really just never makes sense to me. It seems like it would be so easy and make sense as to which thread to pull, but for whatever reason, it eludes me. So once you think you've got it tight, and you kind of just look at it and see if it feels tight enough. Now, it doesn't have to be crazy tight, but tight enough. And I usually just kind of wiggle it back and forth a couple of times. You want to make sure that your tails are on each side of your bridge. Okay, so you've got a bridge that's through the middle, and then your tails on each side, and then knot that off. Okay, and I usually just do a square knot. And then you can keep the string, lose the string, tie a bow, whatever you want to do. I like to keep my string until I decide if I want to put any charms or things there. So for now, I'm just going to keep it a little bit long. So, one. How long did that take? Too long. Isn't it? It's like trying to figure out the blind chords. You're right. I don't have fingernails, so getting these on and off is always a challenge. Come on, left. All right, one down. So that's nice and snug. Two is this one. So same thing, just make sure everything is nicely squished down. If there's any pages that need to be moved, check for that. I don't think this one had any loose ones like that. Pretty sure they're all glued. Yeah, okay. So that feels good. Find the middle. Where is it? There it is. Find the middle. Squish it down. I'm going to go ahead and put these claps on the outside. I almost grabbed two smaller ones. There's a thick journal. Stay seated. And I'm just pushing down as I go to make sure it stays nicely seated. All right, let's get our little guide thingy. Make sure I am straight. Make sure I have the top up. And I am on my line. One there. I should be able to get away with two. All right, just squish it in there good. And get you all, and poke your holes. I think I usually do it on my foam pad so I don't go into my table sideways. Stick that on there. Sometimes I hit it, especially if I'm trying to do it with it resting on here. holes poked. Pull off our template. And thread. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, needle. I've lost my needle. Don't know where I lost it. It's here somewhere. There it is. Alrighty. And through the middle. Tie off my tail. Okay, and we are on the second row. Find the holes. Yeah, so these are sometimes easier to touch and find. Hope I can get this one done. Well, I'll get it done one way or the other. Will I get it done before 11? Probably not. We'll see. All right, now I'm forgetting which direction I'm going. All right, I'm going this way. Okay, last one. Sometimes I get faster as I go. Sometimes not. We'll see. I hope I do. All right, back through this one. Make sure I'm not splitting. Back through this. We skip to this last one. Well, not the last, but 5. Okay. Through there. And could have gone a little longer on my thread. And then down through here. This is the one I split last time. Let's try not to split it. Nope, I'm hitting something. Let me try turning it. Guys. Yeah, definitely running out of thread. It's because I'm so loose. I'm really loose. I really should have tightened it up a little bit better, but let's see. Try to tighten it a little bit. Only because I'm running out of length. All right. So what will happen is I'll come off my needle. I can't get it through there. don't think it splits. And last one. I can't tell. Trying to see if I'm hitting it. I can't tell. I think I got it. All right. Okay. Get under there. All right, I'm gonna help you. And let's tighten her up. Try to start from here. Let's tighten that one. Tighten that one. This one. Nope, I'm pulling something wrong. Don't pull that one. That's not the one you want. No. What is it? I have no idea. Right, where does that one go? Why can't I figure it out? Is it this one? No. Okay. That was it. Snug. Snug. And snug. Right, that looks pretty good. My middle's very loose. Why is my middle so loose? I do not know. I gotta fix that. Okay, middle. What are you not doing right? It's not that one. Is it that one? Every time I fight, guys. Every time. Nope. This one? That one. Okay. Now we're not this. That looks better. Alright. Tighten her down. What time is it? We did a little faster. A little faster than the last time. Alright. Okay. One more. Rubber clips. Okay. There's a fourth one here somewhere. Let's see. It's in my lap. No. Here. Okay. Whew. Make sure there's no weird spots in this one. Don't think there are. It's glued. Yeah, we're good. Alright. To the middle. My middle's easy to find because I do that spread in the middle. It does make that middle easy to find, which is nice. Why is that one page so long? I think it's the cover. Slide this cover this way just a fraction. Is that it? No. Oh, it's this page. at it. I missed something. Hold on. What did you miss? There. Like I said, these are almost too small. Stay up. Okay. Whew. Right direction. Template. Okay. There it is. And put it all in there. So hopefully this isn't boring. This part is, a lot of you have seen me do this so many times. Just fast forward if you catch the replay. Oh, I need my foam thingy. I keep eating into my table. It's because I'm going at a little bit of an angle. All right, so I think I missed, no, it's there, okay. All right, take that off the template. Last one. We're getting there, guys. Thread and needle. 1, 2, 3. All right, in through the middle. Secure my little tail. I do like the Oxford hollow though, or any kind of a hidden spine works similar, but the hollows are best. Because when you have a book like this, it's so full and you're trying to journal in it, the inside can just not want to really lay flat for you. But having the Oxford hollow helps that. So you don't have that issue. Helps your pages lay flat. Can't tell if you're going through. No, you're hitting something. What are you hitting? Oh, my holes are not, they're definitely not perfect over there. A fraction off. It's hard when you have all these pieces. Try not to let it get so loose this time. I really have to have like a ½ inch or I just can't function trying to get these in here. For me, it's much harder to try to keep it tight the whole time because then I can't line up the lines and I end up just having more issues. Which direction is that? Up. Whew. Yeah, could you get away with a 3-hole? I don't know. It's a lot for a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. It would be faster if you wanted to try it, but I just feel like you're going to get a lot more security a long time out of a journal if you do the 5. So it might be faster to start with, but then you're going to pay for it later. Almost looked like it split, but it didn't. Come on. Last one's getting me. I'm going to have to use the awl. Let me pull this off. Just need to get it over to one side so I can see it better. This one is loose. Nope. Nope. Which one is it? Okay. That. I think that is this one. Huh. What is it? Is it this one? Okay. I'm trying to grab it and I can't hold it. There. Okay. That goes that way. And then this one goes that way. And there, and that one must be this one. Nope. Oh my goodness, which one is it? I thought you were one of these. Are you just not pulling? Okay. I'm confused. Hold on. That pulls that one. So we don't want to pull that one. This pulls that one. So we don't want to pull that one. What pulls this one? Not that, right? Oh my gosh, get under. Oh, it is. It's just really tight. almost got it, guys. Fight a little bit more. There. Okay. Got it. Get some of this length off here. All right. Okay. Now, so this is where we have, at this point, you're basically the same as if you were doing, say, a hidden spine. Okay. You typically wouldn't have this cardboard piece, but you would have something similar. And then you could just glue the whole thing down into the spine. Okay. That works for a hidden spine, but if you want to have it open better, then you need to have the hollow, or you just need to not glue this part. You can not glue that part and just have, you know, this fabric without this little fold over thing, that hollow part, but the hollow part is a little bit better. So for this part, we have to flatten this out like this to make our little hollow. So you got to put it up to where it'll stay flat, and that's somewhat challenging. Usually I just grab some books or something, but I don't think I grabbed any. What do I have? Try to see if I have a shoebox or something. I just need something to put on each side of it. I didn't think to grab something. Hold on, let me see if I can find something. I'm gonna grab a shoebox. 2 shoeboxes. Let's try this. So we just want this to sit relatively even. I can. These aren't very heavy. Right, just so it stays good enough for me to glue it. You don't want it to lay flat because it will, it affects the gluing. Just trust me, you don't want that flat. Some people put a piece of acetate in there just to keep from gluing to it. It's, as long as you're careful, it's not really an issue, but if you're worried, I don't know if I have a piece cut already. I probably did at one point, but did I use it for something else? Maybe. It's always a possibility. I've got some acetate. Let's see if one of these is big enough. Not really. They're short. We're just gonna be careful. The purpose of putting acetate in there is so that you don't glue the hollow closed. Alright, so it doesn't really matter which goes over the other. I would pick the side that matches the closest, which is this side on top. So we're gonna glue this one first. I'm gonna use my art glitter because it dries fastest. And we don't have to wait. Actually, I'm going to use the bigger nozzle one. This has got the fine nozzle. Use the big one. Okay, so we're going to glue this. Remember, we do not want glue inside. I would suggest spreading it out if you can. Might put a little bit more than that. dry before I get it spread out. Could have used PVA, but it'd take forever. I want to wait, so. And then fold that over. Like I said, you just don't want your hollow to close up, so just be sure to stick something in there. Make sure that your hollow is not closing up. I'm just going to use this little foam folder. Also push against it to make sure that it's not closing. Alright, that feels pretty good. Okay. Let's set these aside for a second. So now we have our hollow. Okay. Yeah, that's our hollow. And we have our two pieces that glue down. Get this out of the way before I stick it on something. And then you want your journal. Make sure you are the right way up. Okay, make sure your ribbons or anything like that are out of the way. Now, this is a little bit difficult to deal with because it's so bulky and got a lot of stuff going on there. I'm just going to throw these microfibers down to help that a little bit. It's got a lot going on. Yeah, it's a little bit better. All right, so what happens is this goes into the middle and it glues here. But you got to make sure that everything is in the proper spot and that it folds up. So just look at it. I've got to clear my little thing there, so a little churn, but I'm good. Feels pretty good. It feels about right. So what you're going to do is take one side and kind of feel there's like a groove. I think I'm straight. And then you're going to need to keep this side up. So I'm going to take that junk thingy again. Set that like that. So it doesn't, I don't want it to fall down. And I'll glue this, get all my cords out of the way. I'm just double checking from the angle from the side, make sure it looks like it's centered. It looks good. Alright, so we need to lift this up and somehow get glue right where we want it. I'm going to put a little mark there because I don't really want glue anywhere. Oops, wrong color. This. I don't want glue all over the place. Oh, this isn't my chalk pencil. It looks like my chalk pencil, but it's not. There it is. So I want glue about there. I can always touch up past that in a second. So lift that out of the way. You might need 6 hands. I think I'd rather use PVA. It just, you have to wait. It's going to take longer to dry, but it's a safer option, I think. Let's see if I can clean this off with something. How am I going to do this? Like I said, I need 6 hands, guys. Stay. All right, let me clean this off. I'm going to grab the PVA glue and a brush. I think I'll use this brush. Alright. I gotta double check, make sure I didn't move. Okay, looks okay. I could possibly clip that, but I don't know if I can or not. Let's see. Just try to clip it. There, okay. And then I need glue here. PVA PVA glue. Where'd you go? There you are. So you want to get it just to where that fabric is, ideally nowhere else. I'm going to try to use this brush, I think. Trying to see if I have something to work better, but this is probably going to do. The PVA dries slower, so I can brush it on and not have to stress about it drying before I get it on. And ideally, I don't want to go past that little groove. And that's just something you'll just have to kind of feel out as to where it is. I can kind of feel it. And I think I got a little bit in it, but we're trying to find something. I want that folder. Got a little bit there. I don't want there. Trying to stay outside that little, where it starts to sink in, there's like a little groove. Just get a decent amount of glue down. I would go with PVA just because it dries slower and it'll give you more time to get your glue in the proper spot. Spread that out, and we're going to lay this down onto that. I'm going to grab that bone folder, clean off the wet glue, because I know I just got wet glue on there. And we're just going to make sure that that's in. Nice and firmly, ideally. Now remember, this gets covered up, so it doesn't really matter per se what it looks like that much. Hopefully I got that glue over there in that groove enough. There's like a groove right here that I wanted the glue to stop at. Can't quite tell, but I think it is. So I can't lay this onto there because it'll pull it up. So this is where it gets a little tricky. You have to somehow first cover it up because it's not dry. And then, like I said, you need 6 hands. And then we got to do the other side. So we're going to switch this little, any blocks or bricks or something. I don't have any. I'll switch this to this side. And we're going to jump over to this side. This one won't lay flat because of my cover. It'll be good enough. And then I'm going to clip this material up. Well, actually, I'm going to mark it first. Where'd my chalk pencil go? There it is. I'll mark approximately where that ends. Okay. And I'm going to clip the fabric to this. Just so it's out of my way for a minute. Where'd my other clip go? Hopefully y'all can see enough. I know it's a tricky setup to film. So remember, I'm trying to get all the way to that. There's like it goes flat and then it tucks in a little bit where there's like a groove. And you want the glue ideally to be in that groove but no further. I'm not left-handed, but I'm going to try it. It's a lot of glue. I might have went a little bit crazy. I'm going to try to get into that. To see. I think it's right there. think you're supposed to go in the groove, but I honestly can't remember. But we're going to do it mostly in the groove. I haven't watched a video on how to do this in a while. There's not a lot out there, honestly. I kind of found halfway instructions a long time ago, and I know that Nick the Booksmith has a lesson on it. I've never watched it, but I hear it's good. It's a paid thing. It shouldn't charge much though. I think it's like $8 or something, at least the last time I looked. So it's not like it's a lot of money. But I know she does it similar, judging from some other videos of hers I've seen. She's a good one to watch for bookbinding though. She's very skilled. Okay, let me get that bone folder. Okay, that feels right. All right. Now, ideally, this should dry just like this until that PVA is totally dry. Don't really have a way to do that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to try to clamp this piece. I'm going to acetate. It's loose. I want to make sure it's... I don't want any loose bits because I'm going to glue that other piece to it. And I do want to make sure that this is glued all the way across. It feels okay. We're going to cover it so it doesn't really matter if it gets glue anywhere else, but do make sure it's glued down, or else whatever you glue on top of it won't glue proper. Hopefully that makes sense. Alright. So it feels pretty good. It's in my little groove. I think this side's in the groove. This side feels less. I think the groove is just not as structured on this side. But I think we're good. So I'm gonna look. And you can let it dry like this, but if you do, you have to just put acetate in there or something like that so it doesn't stick. But I can't let it dry right now because I still need to do the rest of it. So I'm gonna try to clamp this so it'll stay up. And I think I can do it. I've got some huge clamps. Let's see if we can get one to work. I might have to use a couple. So I'm going to try to clamp this. These in the middle. If I wasn't live, I would just let it dry. Then I gotta add my tip-in pages, which are floating around here somewhere. Alright, if they fit. They need to fit just outside the groove and up to the edge, approximately. I'm just making sure I have that right. Okay, that fits pretty good. Good, I don't have to cut them. I was worried. Like, am I going to have to cut them? No, they fit pretty good. Okay, so we can glue those down. We're just going to stick with the PVA. So same thing, kind of know where you're going. I'm going to guess. And hope that doesn't fall over. If it falls, I'm going to have a mess on my hands. It feels like it's pretty strong and it's going to stay there, but I am totally guessing. I might put my hand on it just to be sure. I think we stopped about here. should have marked it. I'll try to get close. Yeah, it looked like it was about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. And I can always glue the edge a little bit better. Think about there. And the PVA glue isn't typically sticky if it is outside of the area. At least, you know, when it dries. I think that's right. I mean, here, I'm going to try to hold it up there. I'm more worried about the inside dimension. Maybe a fraction over. Sheet. So PVA glue gives you a little more time, so don't have to freak out like you do with our glitter. You can wiggle it. I'm gonna pull it this way just a fraction. If I can hold on to it. Maybe not. I just didn't want to be in that groove. There's that. Let's do the other one. I'm going to flip it. It's going to be upside down, but that's okay because it doesn't really have a direction. But I can't think about it that way. It's too hard. All right. I need that cloth. Where'd that cloth go? Oh, there it is. It's too bumpy. I don't want to break any of the pieces. I've got a couple of glass pieces on there. A glass potion bottle. Alright, does that feel good? Alright, so this goes here. I just have to remember that I'm upside down. So, okay, about there. I'm going to mark that if I can. So I have to freak out about where to put my glue. I don't know if I'll be able to see this pencil though. It's white. I might be able to. I'm going to use black. So that will definitely show a lot. Yeah, I can't choose. I can't see it at all. Alright, we'll use a black one. Oh, where's it at? There it is. I'll use this one. Out of line. Okay. Glue. More glue. What time is it? Ooh, I'm going to go over. I am definitely going over. But we're close. I'm not going to finish by 11. I hope I don't have alarms going off. Hubby's not home, so I don't have to worry about him. I think my medicine alarm goes off at midnight, so that should be good. There's a couple of spots here that are not glued. Try to get those down first. Where's that other one? I know I saw one. There and there. Should have made sure that was down first. This gluing is cathartic. Is that the right word? Cathartic? me to sleep. I almost had enough glue. I need a little more on this edge. Okay. Just want to make sure a decent amount. And put a small bead there. Can't really do a small bead with this huge nozzle, but about there. Okay. I think that's good. Tip and paper. Try to get on my little line. All right, this is harder to push because it's not a flat surface. Let's get all that stuff on the cover. Some people do their covers last. I don't, because I don't know. I like to know what I'm working with. I don't know. I always do the covers first. I understand why you would do the cover last, though. I do understand the logic there. Some people decide their cover based on what they put in the journal, and I do it the other way around. All right, that feels good. Let's see how this looks. Let's put this around. Sure, we're good. I'm not bending everything out. What is under there? Pencil. Feels pretty flat. I think we are good. I don't even think the edges look too bad. Only a couple tiny little spots which I can hit with some art glitter. So we got to get our pockets on there. That's going to be challenging. I'm not going to use this, so I'm going to wash it out. Some water sitting here. I will wash it better later. I'm going to wash it some. And grab the pockets, which are floating around here somewhere. Where did they go? I lost them. Pockets. Oh, they're right in front of me. Okay, which way are we? So this right side is the side that I'm going to do the sideways pocket, and the left I'm going to do the regular pocket. So I only sewed one edge, the folded edge. This edge I just glued. So I'm going to go that way. We're just going to glue it in there. I think I'm just going to use art glitter. It holds pretty well on this. I've used it before on it. I think it'll be fine. I don't want to use the Fabri-Tac. I don't like it. It has its purposes, but not for this. All right, so I think I'll put the glue. I'm gonna put it on here. So I'm just gonna do a bead. And hope for the best. I don't have a lot of room for that writing board, so I don't want to get too much glue oozing inward. I make sure that I kind of keep it outward, at least on the edges. I'm trying not to go past my thread that I sewed. All right, so now I gotta flip it. Yeah, right. Get my fingers all gluey. stretching it just a little bit. It's very holy, so it can be a challenge. Because it wants to go through the holes and stick to you. I'm trying to get it as flat as I can. Alright, now that will have to dry thoroughly before I put anything in there, ideally. I'm going to grab this and see if it will fit. It should, but I just want to make sure we're going to be okay. Yeah, I think I'll be fine. Let me just tack those edges down. I'm going to tack them with, where's my little bottle of our glitter? Just going to make sure those are tacked really well on the edge there. I've used this art glitter on this material several times, and it when it's dry, it holds pretty well. So, it should be fine, but you are going to have to wait for it to dry. Okay, so there's that pocket. Gosh, there's so much glue on my fingers, guys. So much. Alright, let's flip over to this pocket. This one just goes on the bottom. I'm going to do it the same way. Can't tell if there's a... I'm sure there's a front and back to this thread, but don't ask me which side it is. I don't know. Alright, we're going to try to put that on this side. This pocket isn't as worrisome because I have, you know, I don't have something I'm putting in here that has to fit per se, whereas the other one I did. It's dripping everywhere. Need something to lay it on here. What can I do? I had acetate. I'm just going to lay it on this acetate so I can kind of spread that glue out a little bit. I'm purposely putting a decent amount of glue because it is so holy that a lot of it gets absorbed. So I really want it to hold. Okay, that feels good. Where's my wipe? Okay. Make sure I didn't get any glue there. Just peel that off and lay it down. Sticking to nothing. Alright, now try to, there's my silicone. Just tack this down good. Oops, don't fall. Don't fall yet. We're not ready for you to fall. Honestly, that other dry is probably dry by now. It's probably fine. Just make sure, because this isn't dry and I don't want to stick to it, so I'm going to have to grab some acetate or something. I'll find some. Alright, so there's our pockets. They're glued down, and that's pretty much it as far as that, other than putting the ephemera back in and the charm on. Let me get this little thing back in. I'm going to try to find some acetate real quick. I know I have some, I just got to, I don't have any cut. I have plastic. I guess I could just use that. Here, I'll just use that. I can find that easier. There, we'll just use some plastic box. So, stick that in there. Stick that one there. And take off our clamps carefully. this is how it will open. Okay, it'll get a little bit flatter than that once I can really let it go. But for right now, it's going to have to be dried with it closed. Or open with it standing. Either way. Either way works. You can close it. But in a nutshell, there's how it's going to look. And it's not too bad without the ephemera. Without the ephemera, it's not quite a gator mouth, but with the ephemera, it is a tiny bit of a gator mouth. But I think it looks good. I'm happy with it. So I will probably just open it up to dry in a minute, but I'm gonna I'm gonna sign off because I can't stay on too much longer. So that's it. We're gonna leave it at that. I will do a flip through with these later. I don't know which day. Maybe soon. We'll see. But once they're dry and everything, and I can show you how everything works, I'll put the charm on and do a flip through and everything and show you how it worked. But that's pretty much it, guys. That's how you do an Oxford Hollow. And then it basically, it pulls apart when it opens, and that keeps your pages, it allows your pages to lay a whole lot flatter. It opens up and they flatten out. Okay, you can kind of see how that works. But it's still a little too wet to open, so we're going to leave it. Alright guys, that's live. I will see y'all on, I don't even know, it's this Friday, right? I will be back probably Monday. I don't think I'm going to do anything Sunday, so probably Monday I'll be back and do the vignette. I might jump on tomorrow and do the flip through. So we'll leave it up in the air. I will try to jump on tomorrow and do the flip through so you can see the finished journals. Okay. That's it. If y'all have any questions, feel free to PM me and I'll answer them. And I will see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.